Imagine waking up one day and realizing your parents dread the thought of moving into a care facility, just like 73% of seniors do. It's a silent crisis that's rarely discussed, yet affects millions of families worldwide. But what if I told you there are revolutionary alternatives that most people don't know about? In this eye-opening video, we'll explore cutting-edge solutions that are transforming how we age, from smart homes that extend independence by 15 years to thriving micro-communities where seniors report higher happiness levels than their peers in traditional settings. Whether you're planning for your own future or caring for aging loved ones, these innovative approaches could save you thousands of dollars while ensuring a dignified, fulfilling lifestyle. Stay tuned to discover why some seniors are living their best lives outside traditional care facilities. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this important message. 1. Depression hits 40% of nursing home residents. That's 4 times higher than seniors living in their own communities. But here's what most families don't realize. It's not always about poor care. It's about something psychologists call learned helplessness. Meet Walter, a retired history professor. Sharp as a tack, loved his routines. After a minor fall, his worried family moved him to a top-rated facility. Within months, this man who once debated politics at coffee shops and read until 2 a.m. had stopped asking questions entirely. The facility was clean, the staff was kind, but Walter's daily choices had vanished. Breakfast at 8, activities at 10, lights out at 9. His books sat in storage, his dog was rehomed, and meaningful conversations were replaced with scheduled group activities. The crushing reality? Even 5-star facilities can accidentally strip away what makes someone feel human. When every decision, from when you eat to when you sleep, gets made for you, your brain starts believing your choices don't matter anymore. That's learned helplessness, and it's devastating. Here's the thing nobody talks about. The problem isn't bad facilities. It's the one-size-fits-all institutional model itself. We've been told our only options are staying home alone or moving to a facility. That's simply not true anymore. Smart technology is keeping people independent 15 years longer than previous generations. Motion sensors can detect falls instantly. Medication dispensers prevent dangerous mix-ups. Video calling keeps families connected daily. Some seniors are thriving in micro-communities, small groups sharing resources while maintaining their own spaces and schedules. These aren't pipe dreams. They're happening right now, and they're often less expensive than traditional facilities. The key is planning before a crisis hits. Start these conversations with your family today, research your local options, and remember, aging doesn't have to mean losing yourself. Your daily choices matter more than you think. Whether it's your morning coffee ritual or evening walk, these small freedoms define who you are. Protecting them isn't just about comfort. It's about preserving your identity and mental health as you age. 2. Traditional medical alert systems have a fundamental flaw. They require you to be conscious and capable when you're most vulnerable. If you fall and hit your head or have a stroke, that little button around your neck becomes useless. Smart home technology changes everything. Take Arthur, a retired jazz pianist in Chicago with early Parkinson's. His trembling hands made opening pill bottles a daily nightmare. Instead of struggling with tiny caps, he installed a voice-activated medication dispenser on his kitchen counter. At 8 a.m., it lights up and says, "Arthur, time for your morning pills." He walks over, and it dispenses exactly what he needs into a cup. No fumbling, no spills, no mistakes. The real breakthrough is in his living room. A small device on the wall uses radio waves to monitor his movement patterns without cameras or privacy invasion. This technology, validated in medical studies, detects falls with 95% accuracy. It learns Arthur's normal walking rhythm and daily patterns. If he falls, it doesn't wait for him to press anything. It automatically alerts his daughter and emergency services within seconds. This sounds expensive, but let's talk numbers. A complete smart home setup costs between $5,000 and $15,000 one time. The average nursing home costs over $100,000 per year. The technology pays for itself in under 2 months. You might not pay full price either. Veterans qualify for VA grants to cover these modifications. Many states now offer Medicaid waivers specifically for home technology that keeps people out of institutions. The goal isn't turning your home into a medical facility. It's making support so seamless that your house feels more like home, not less. Arthur doesn't feel like a patient. He feels like a pianist with a very smart assistant. But technology solves physical challenges, not emotional ones. It can detect if you've fallen, but it can't detect if you're lonely. A robot can deliver your dinner, but it can't share conversation over the meal. The biggest threat to independence often isn't physical decline, but social isolation. Think about this. What daily task makes you feel most at home? Making morning coffee? Tending your garden? Answering your own door? That's where the right technology should start, preserving what matters most to your sense of self. 3. Here's a counterintuitive idea. What if the key to independence was to pay a small fee to your neighbors? Not for their friendship, but to organize it. This is the core concept of the village movement, and it's not what you think. It's not a place, it's a network. Picture this. You pay an annual membership, maybe $450 a year, to a central hub. In return, you get access to a pool of vetted volunteers, your own neighbors, who can drive you to a doctor's appointment, help you change a high-up light bulb, or walk your dog if you're feeling unwell. You also get access to group discounts on professional services like plumbers and electricians, and a calendar full of social events, from book clubs to walking groups. This isn't charity. It's organized community support with a paid coordinator who makes it reliable. Think of it like having a personal assistant who knows everyone in your neighborhood and can connect you with exactly the right person for whatever you need. This isn't just a nice idea for wealthy suburbs. Look at Detroit. In a city known for its resilience and grit, the East Side Village Seniors organization is thriving. Here, the challenge isn't a lack of community spirit, but a lack of centralized resources. The village model provides the missing piece, a coordinator. This one person acts like an air traffic controller for Goodwill, connecting a member who needs a ride with a volunteer who's already heading that way. It turns random acts of kindness into a reliable support system. Now, let's go from a dense urban core to the vast, open spaces of rural Montana. In places where your nearest neighbor might be a mile away, a village like Big Sky Senior Services solves a different problem: isolation. Here, the service isn't just about a ride to the grocery store, which could be a 40-mile round trip. It's the check-in call, the organized potluck that brings people together from across the valley, and the tech volunteer who drives out to help you set up a video call with your grandkids. It's a lifeline against loneliness. Does this actually work? A landmark study from UC Berkeley by Charlock and his colleagues followed village members over several years. The findings were remarkable. Members reported significantly higher levels of social engagement and self-rated health compared to non-members. They were building what researchers call social capital, a web of trust and reciprocity that is a stronger predictor of longevity than even cholesterol levels. The membership fee isn't for services. It's an investment in a social safety net. The real twist is that the people who volunteer often report getting more out of it than the members they help. They find a new sense of purpose and connection themselves. The system isn't a one-way street of care. It's a multi-lane highway of mutual support. Here's how to find or start a village in your area. First, check the Village to Village Network website. They have a directory of existing villages across the country. If there isn't one near you, they also provide a startup toolkit. The key is finding that first coordinator, often a retired social worker, teacher, or nurse who has the organizational skills and community connections to get things rolling. The startup costs are surprisingly manageable. Most villages begin with a part-time coordinator earning around $25,000 annually, funded by membership fees from just 100 to 150 members. The coordinator handles the logistics, maintaining the volunteer database, matching requests with helpers, organizing events, and negotiating group discounts with local businesses. What makes a village successful? 3 things: a dedicated coordinator, clear boundaries about what services are and aren't provided, and a culture that emphasizes reciprocity over charity. The best villages make it clear that everyone has something to offer, whether it's driving, cooking, tech support, or simply being a friendly voice on the phone. Think about your own skills. Maybe you're great at organizing, love to drive, or have a green thumb. Maybe you know how to fix things, or you're good with computers. In a village model, these everyday abilities become valuable community resources. And when you need help, whether it's a ride to physical therapy or someone to help you understand your new smartphone, you're not asking for charity. You're part of a network where everyone contributes and everyone benefits. The village movement proves that sometimes the best solution isn't high-tech or expensive. Sometimes it's as simple as organizing what already exists. Neighbors who want to help and neighbors who need help, connected by someone whose job it is to make those connections happen reliably and efficiently. 4. Co-housing communities are popping up across America, and they're changing how we think about aging in place. These aren't retirement homes or assisted living facilities. They're neighborhoods where older adults choose to live together while keeping their independence. Here's how it works. You have your own private home or apartment with your own front door, kitchen, and bathroom. But you also share common spaces with your neighbors, a big kitchen for group meals, a comfortable living room, maybe a workshop or garden. The key difference? You and your neighbors run everything together. No management company, no director telling you what to do. Take Beacon Hill Village in Boston. Residents there organize their own grocery runs, share tools, and look out for each other. When someone needs a ride to the doctor, they post it on their message board. When someone's feeling under the weather, a neighbor might drop off soup. It's not charity. It's just good neighboring built into the daily routine. The health benefits are real. Research shows that strong social connections can add years to your life. They're as important for your health as exercise or controlling your blood pressure. When you're isolated, your body produces more stress hormones. Your immune system weakens. But when you're connected to others, your body literally functions better. In rural Colorado, a group of retirees converted an old motel into a co-housing community. They weren't looking for social experiment. They were tired of maintaining big properties alone, especially during harsh winters. Now they share one heavy-duty snow plow instead of each buying their own. They split the cost of repairs and maintenance. It's practical, not philosophical. The biggest myth about co-housing is that you need to be best friends with everyone. You don't. You just need to be a good neighbor. You agree on basic rules about noise, shared spaces, and how decisions get made. Some days you'll eat dinner together. Other days you'll stay in your own place. The choice is always yours. What makes this work is the balance. You get privacy when you want it and company when you need it. If you're sick, someone will notice if your curtains stay closed for 2 days. If you need help changing a light bulb, you don't have to call a handyman. But if you want to spend the weekend reading alone, nobody bothers you. The financial benefits matter too. Sharing costs for maintenance, utilities, and equipment means your money goes further. Instead of each person buying a lawn mower, you share one. Instead of hiring individual snow removal services, you split the cost of one service for the whole community. These communities work because they're designed around choice, not obligation. You're not required to participate in every activity or meal. You're not stuck with people you don't like. If the arrangement stops working for you, you can sell your home and move, just like any other neighborhood. The waiting lists for established co-housing communities can be long, but new ones are being built every year. Some are purpose-built from scratch. Others convert existing buildings like old schools or office complexes. The key is finding people who share similar values about community living and working together to make it happen. This isn't about giving up your independence. It's about being smart with it. Instead of struggling alone with tasks that are easier to share, you pool resources and energy. Instead of wondering if anyone would notice if something happened to you, you build relationships with people who actually will notice. Co-housing gives you the security of community without the loss of control that comes with traditional senior housing. You're not a resident being cared for. You're a neighbor contributing to a community you help create and maintain. 5. Your home might be your most powerful health tool, but most folks are sitting on it without realizing its potential. An accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, transforms your property from a place you maintain into one that maintains you. Let me tell you about Sarah and Tom from Portland. They're 68 and 72, dealing with Tom's early-stage Parkinson's. Their three-bedroom house felt too big, but moving meant leaving their neighborhood, their doctor, their walking routes. Instead, they built a 600-square-foot ADU in their backyard for $120,000. Here's the smart part. They moved into the smaller unit themselves and rented out the main house. That rental income covers their property taxes, insurance, and gives them an extra $800 monthly for Tom's physical therapy. The ADU has grab bars, a walk-in shower, and no stairs. They downsized their living space, but upsized their financial security and health support. This isn't about building a guest house. It's about creating options before you need them. The rental income can fund home modifications, pay for housekeeping, or cover unexpected medical bills. When health changes, you have choices. Move to the smaller, more accessible unit, or use it for live-in help while keeping your privacy. Building codes are catching up with reality. Most cities now allow ADUs, and many fast-track the permits. You can build above a garage, convert a basement, or add a standalone unit. Costs range from $80,000 for a basic conversion to $200,000 for new construction, but financing options include renovation loans that roll construction costs into your mortgage. The health benefits go beyond money. Having someone nearby reduces isolation and provides security. But choose your arrangement carefully. Family dynamics can get complicated when adult children move into your backyard. Sometimes a non-family tenant works better. Consider the arrangement that works in Seattle. A retired teacher rents her ADU to a nursing student for below market rate. In exchange, the student provides 10 hours weekly of non-medical assistance, grocery shopping, driving to appointments, basic tech support. It's not caregiving. It's practical help with clear boundaries. The teacher gets peace of mind and affordable assistance. The student gets housing she can afford. The key is designing for independence, not dependence. Separate entrances matter. Sound insulation prevents every footstep from becoming a conversation. Private outdoor space gives both parties room to breathe. Smart design uses landscaping or building angles so windows don't face each other directly. Think about your daily routines now. What tasks are getting harder? Yard work? Grocery shopping? Managing medications? An ADU arrangement can address these before they become crises. The rental income might cover a weekly house cleaner. The nearby tenant might help with heavy lifting. You stay in your community, maintain your independence, and create a financial cushion. Start with your property assessment. Do you have space for a 400 square foot minimum unit? Can your electrical and plumbing systems handle the addition? Check local zoning laws. They vary widely. Some areas require owner occupancy of either the main house or ADU. Others limit rental duration. The biggest mistake people make is waiting until they need help to start planning. Building takes 6 months to 2 years depending on permits and complexity. Start the conversation with family members early. Discuss boundaries, expectations, and what happens if arrangements need to change. Your property can work harder for your health and financial security. An ADU isn't just square footage, it's flexibility. It's the difference between being stuck with limited options and having choices when your needs change. The question isn't whether you'll need more support as you age, it's whether you'll have the resources and arrangements in place to get it while staying where you want to be. 6. Here's what most people don't realize about living with younger folks. It's not about being entertained. It's about staying sharp. When a music student moves into your retirement community and performs twice a week, your brain isn't just enjoying the melody. It's processing complex auditory patterns, following narrative structures in songs, and making emotional connections. That's cognitive exercise disguised as entertainment. The Cleveland Institute of Music figured this out years ago. Their students live rent-free at Judson Manor, but here's the kicker. The residents aren't passive audiences. They become invested in these young people's careers, offering feedback, sharing their own musical memories, and even helping with performance anxiety. One resident, a former piano teacher, now coaches students on stage presence. Another, who worked in marketing, helps them understand how to connect with different audiences. This isn't charity work. It's a skill exchange that happens to solve 2 problems at once. Students get stable housing in an expensive city, plus a built-in support system of people who actually want them to succeed. The residents get their minds engaged in ways that watching TV simply can't match. But here's where it gets interesting for your health. Research from Johns Hopkins shows that older adults in these programs have measurably better cognitive function after just 6 months. Not because they're being stimulated, because they're being useful. When you're teaching a 22-year-old how to fold a fitted sheet or explaining why certain songs were popular in your era, you're accessing and organizing decades of knowledge. That's mental exercise. The physical benefits are just as real. A study tracking 200 seniors in intergenerational housing found they had 40% fewer falls compared to traditional senior housing. Why? Because they're moving more. They're walking to the common room for performances, helping carry equipment, even just standing longer during conversations with energetic young people. Small movements add up. Your stress hormones change too. Cortisol levels drop significantly when you have regular, meaningful contact with younger generations. High cortisol is linked to everything from heart disease to memory problems. So when you're laughing with a student about their dating disasters or helping them understand how to budget for groceries, you're literally reducing inflammation in your body. The key is structure. Successful programs don't just throw young and old together and hope for the best. There are applications, interviews, and careful matching based on interests and personalities. Clear expectations about time commitments and types of interaction. Most importantly, there are coordinators who check in regularly and help resolve conflicts before they become problems. Some programs focus on specific skills. In Portland, nursing students live with seniors and provide basic health monitoring in exchange for housing. In Austin, culinary students cook meals for residents while learning about nutrition for older adults. The students aren't caregivers. They're learning partners who happen to live in the same building. The most successful arrangements happen when both sides bring something valuable to the table. Your decades of life experience, problem-solving skills, and emotional wisdom are genuinely useful to someone just starting their adult life. Their energy, fresh perspectives, and technological know-how can genuinely improve your daily life. Before you consider this option, think honestly about what you can offer and what you need. Are you comfortable with noise at different hours? Can you handle having your routine occasionally disrupted? Do you genuinely enjoy learning new things, even if they seem foreign at first? These programs work best for people who see change as interesting rather than threatening. The health benefits are real, but they come from engagement, not proximity. Simply having young people around won't help if you're not actually interacting with them. The magic happens in the conversations, the shared meals, the moments when different generations realize they have more in common than they thought. 7. What if the entire concept of a nursing home was fundamentally wrong? What if we've been building warehouses for people when we should have been building actual homes? This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a proven model called the Greenhouse Project, and it starts by throwing out everything we think we know about elder care facilities. Picture a regular house on a regular street. Inside, there are 10 to 12 private bedrooms, each with its own bathroom. The heart of the home is a shared living room and an open kitchen, where the smell of coffee brewing or bread baking fills the air. The real revolution isn't in the architecture, though. It's in who runs the show. In these homes, the clinical staff aren't calling shots. The stars are specially trained caregivers called Shahbazim, which means royal falcon in Persian. These aren't your typical nursing assistants. They work in small teams, consistently assigned to the same house. They don't just help with personal care. They cook meals with residents, manage the household budget, and keep the home running. The nurses and therapists? They're visitors, not the bosses. This approach delivers remarkable health results. A major study in the Journal of the American Medical Directors Association found that greenhouse residents were 38% less likely to end up in the hospital and 24% less likely to become bedridden compared to people in traditional nursing homes. Why? Because when the same caregiver sees you every single day, they notice when something's off. They catch that slight change in your breathing or appetite before it becomes a crisis. It's about preventing problems, not just treating them after they happen. You're probably thinking this sounds expensive. Here's the surprise: it usually isn't. While building costs can be higher, day-to-day operations often cost less. Staff turnover in greenhouse homes is dramatically lower than the industry average of over 100% per year. When you're not constantly hiring and training new people, you save serious money. For residents, the costs are typically similar to traditional nursing home fees, and most states cover them through Medicaid. The real problem isn't the price. It's finding one. There are hundreds of these homes nationwide, but there's still a tiny fraction of what's available. This model changes everything about what it means to need care. You're not a patient in bed 23B. You're Mrs. Johnson, who likes her coffee black and enjoys watching the birds at the feeder after breakfast. You're Mr. Garcia, who still makes the best scrambled eggs in the house. It's about keeping the small things that make you who you are. The greenhouse approach proves that feeling at home isn't a luxury when you need care. It's essential medicine. When you belong somewhere, when you have a voice in your daily routine, when you can still contribute something meaningful, your body responds. You stay stronger longer. You need fewer medications. You live better. For many people, this kind of rooted, stable community is exactly what they need. But what about those who've spent their lives moving, exploring, changing scenery? What if your idea of home isn't a place at all, but the freedom to keep moving? Some people find their vitality not in putting down deeper roots, but in pulling them up entirely. For them, the ultimate expression of independence isn't the perfect house. It's a house with wheels. 8. What if your sense of self isn't tied to a single place? What if, for you, vitality comes not from stability, but from motion? For a growing number of seniors, the ultimate expression of independence isn't a house with a foundation, but one with wheels. This isn't about aimless wandering. It's a highly intentional lifestyle, a form of purposeful mobility. A retired ER nurse now lives in a Class C motorhome. She isn't touring national parks year-round. Instead, she follows a specific seasonal migration pattern dictated by family. She spends 6 months parked near her daughter's family in Oregon, serving as the on-demand, but not live-in, grandmother. When the rainy season hits, she drives to Southern California to be near her son, providing the same support in a sunnier climate. Her RV is her private, self-contained home. It allows her to be deeply involved in her family's life without sacrificing her own space, routine, or independence. She has traded a stationary home for a mobile headquarters. Managing health on the road goes far beyond simply getting prescription refills at national pharmacy chains. The real challenge is managing chronic conditions that require consistent oversight. This has given rise to Nomadic telemedicine, doctors and nurse practitioners who offer subscription-based services specifically for patients without a fixed address. These providers maintain multi-state medical licenses and work with networks of local specialists to ensure continuity of care regardless of your zip code. They digitally manage conditions like diabetes or hypertension from anywhere with a cell signal, coordinating with local labs for blood work, and maintaining comprehensive digital health records that travel with you. The key is meticulous organization. Keep a medical go bag containing not just medications, but a complete diagnostic history, baseline readings, emergency contact information, and a detailed medication list with dosages and prescribing doctors. Include copies of recent test results, EKGs, and any specialist reports. This isn't just helpful, it's essential when you need emergency care in an unfamiliar hospital. The social fabric of these communities is far more structured than casual campfire chats. Organizations like the Escapees RV Club function as mobile villages with sophisticated support systems. Unlike traditional neighborhoods where trust builds slowly over years of proximity, RV communities operate on rapid trust contracts born from shared vulnerability. Trust isn't a luxury here, it's a prerequisite for turning the ignition key. If a fellow RVer doesn't show up for the morning coffee walk, someone checks on them immediately. This culture of mutual observation creates a powerful, informal safety net that research shows often provides higher levels of social support than stationary communities. These organizations even plan for aging in place, or rather, aging in motion. The escapees have care, a dedicated facility in Texas for members who can no longer travel but want to remain in the community. It's essentially assisted living designed specifically for former full-timers. Financially, this lifestyle swaps one set of predictable costs for another that's more variable. You eliminate property taxes, homeowners insurance, and major home repair bills. Instead, your budget includes fuel, specialized full-timer RV insurance, campground fees, and dedicated monthly savings for inevitable mechanical maintenance. A typical monthly budget runs between $2,500 and $3,500, often significantly less than maintaining a home, plus the expenses of visiting family. The real financial shift is from building equity in a property to investing in life experiences and flexibility. But this entire ecosystem, built on the driver's capability, has a single point of failure: the driver. What happens when a health event, like a minor stroke or worsening arthritis, makes driving a 30-foot vehicle unsafe? The mobile support network excels at acute, short-term problems like breakdowns or sudden illness. But it's not designed for chronic, stationary care needs. Picture this scenario. You're parked in a beautiful spot in Arizona, but you can no longer safely drive. Your RV community is fantastic for bringing you groceries for a week or two, but what happens when you need someone to drive you to medical appointments not just once, but regularly? When your entire community is defined by its ability to leave, who stays to help when you can't? This lifestyle works beautifully as a powerful chapter in your retirement story, but it's rarely the final one. The very mobility that provides freedom and community can become a barrier when that mobility ends. The question becomes, how do you transition from a life built on movement to one that requires staying still? And how do you rebuild that essential safety net in a stationary world? 9. Look, we need to talk about something that makes most people squirm. You know that neighbor who always seems to need a ride to the doctor? Or maybe you're the one who keeps asking for help with yard work because your back isn't what it used to be. There's this unspoken tension that builds up. How many favors can you ask for before it gets weird? How do you return the favor when someone drives you somewhere, but you can't drive anymore? Here's what nobody wants to admit. Traditional neighborly help creates debt. Not money debt, but something harder to track and more uncomfortable to navigate. You help someone move furniture, they feel obligated. They bring you soup when you're sick, now you owe them. It's exhausting, and frankly, it's why a lot of older adults just stop asking for help altogether. But there's a way to flip this whole dynamic. Instead of owing each other favors, what if we treated our skills like currency? I'm talking about time banking, and it's simpler than it sounds. Here's how it works in real life. Sarah, a retired nurse in my neighborhood, spends an hour teaching my wife how to check her blood pressure properly. Sarah earns one-time credit. Later that week, Sarah uses her credit to have Tom, a former electrician, install a new ceiling fan. Tom earns his credit. The next month, Tom uses his credit to have Maria, who used to run a catering business, teach him how to meal prep for his diabetic diet. No money changes hands. No awkward keeping track of who owes what. The beauty is in the math. 1 hour equals 1 credit, period. Doesn't matter if you're teaching someone to use a smartphone or helping them organize their medications. Your time has the same value as everyone else's time. This isn't about charity or feeling sorry for anyone. It's about recognizing that we all have something valuable to offer. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happens if someone gets hurt while helping? This is where you need a simple written agreement. Nothing fancy, just a one-page document that says everyone participates as private citizens, not professionals, and everyone uses their own insurance. Think of it like a neighborhood potluck where everyone brings their own dish and their own appetite. Starting one of these networks is easier than you might think. Get 3 or 4 neighbors together and make 2 lists. First list, what you can teach or help with. Second list, what you need help learning or doing. You'll be amazed at what people know. Your neighbor who seems to just watch TV all day? Turns out she was a bookkeeper for 30 years and can teach you how to organize your finances. The guy next door, who you barely talk to? He's a whiz at smartphone photography and would love to teach you how to take better pictures of your grandkids. The key is being specific about what you offer and what you need. Don't just say, I can help with computers. Say, I can teach you how to video call your family, or I can show you how to order groceries online. Don't just say, I need help around the house. Say, I need someone to teach me how to change my furnace filter, or I want to learn how to make my bathroom safer. Here's something that surprised me. Research shows that getting help this way actually reduces anxiety better than getting help from family. Why? Because you're not a burden. You're a contributing member of something bigger. When your daughter drives you to appointments, part of you feels guilty. When you trade time credits for that same ride, you feel accomplished. The most successful time banks I've seen aren't just about trading tasks. They become genuine communities. People start looking forward to their weekly commitments. Sarah doesn't just teach blood pressure monitoring. She's become the go-to person for health questions. Tom doesn't just fix electrical problems. He's teaching a whole group of people basic home maintenance. Maria isn't just sharing recipes. She's helping people eat better and feel more confident in their kitchens. This system works because it's based on something we all understand: fairness. You give an hour, you get an hour. Simple. No guilt, no complicated social calculations, no wondering if you're asking for too much. Just neighbors helping neighbors in a way that makes everyone feel valued. The best part? You don't need to be particularly social or outgoing to make this work. You just need to be willing to share what you know and learn something new. And trust me, after decades of life experience, you know more than you think you do. 10. Many folks think going online means joining Facebook groups or scrolling through social media. That's not community, that's just noise. Real virtual retirement communities work differently. They're managed, structured environments where you pay a membership fee, just like joining a country club, but everything happens through your computer or tablet. Picture this. Instead of sitting alone watching TV, you're taking a virtual tour of the Metropolitan Museum with 12 other members and a real art guide. Everyone can see and talk to each other through video. If you're using a wheelchair or have mobility issues, you can still walk through the galleries alongside everyone else. The technology makes it feel like you're really there together. Here's what makes these communities special. They handle your healthcare coordination. Let's say you have a doctor's appointment coming up. The community's health coordinator helps you prepare. They'll review your questions beforehand. Make sure your blood pressure readings from your home monitor get sent to the doctor, and if you want, they'll join your video call to take notes and help you remember what to ask. This isn't just about having someone to chat with online. These coordinators become your personal assistants for everything health-related. They'll help you find a cardiologist who takes your insurance, remind you about medication refills, and even coordinate between different doctors so nothing falls through the cracks. The key difference is structure. Regular social media leaves you floating around, trying to figure out what's happening and who to trust. Virtual retirement communities have schedules, planned activities, and trained staff. Monday might be chair yoga with a certified instructor. Wednesday could be a cooking class where everyone makes the same heart-healthy recipe. Friday might be a book discussion led by a retired English teacher. You're not just consuming entertainment. You're participating in a real community that happens to exist online. Members often form smaller groups based on shared interests or health conditions. The Diabetes Support Group meets twice a week. The Grief Counseling Circle gathers monthly. The Photography Club shares pictures and gives each other feedback. The health benefits go beyond just having people to talk to. Learning to use these technologies actually exercises your brain. Studies show that older adults who master video calling, virtual reality, and online collaboration tools experience improved memory and problem-solving skills. The mental challenge of figuring out new technology is like going to the gym for your brain. These communities also solve practical problems. Need a reliable plumber in your actual neighborhood? The community coordinator maintains a vetted list of service providers in different cities. Looking for a nutritionist who understands your specific dietary restrictions? They'll find one and help you set up the appointment. This removes the overwhelming task of researching and vetting dozens of services on your own. The cost varies, but most charge between $50 and $200 monthly, depending on the level of service. Some include unlimited health coordination, while others charge extra for intensive support. Many accept long-term care insurance or offer sliding scale fees based on income. Before committing to a full virtual community, test the waters. Find one online group focused on something you genuinely enjoy, maybe a weekly book club, a gardening forum, or a history discussion group. Participate actively for 1 month. Don't just read what others post. Contribute your own thoughts and questions. Pay attention to how this makes you feel. Does having a scheduled activity to look forward to improve your week? Do you find yourself thinking more clearly when you're engaged in discussions with others? Are you learning new things that interest you? If the answer is yes, then a structured virtual retirement community might be worth exploring. If you feel drained or frustrated by online interaction, this approach probably isn't for you, and that's perfectly fine. The goal isn't to replace all face-to-face contact, but to create reliable social connections and support systems that don't depend on physical proximity. For many people dealing with mobility limitations, transportation challenges, or living in areas where they don't know their neighbors, these virtual communities provide the social structure and practical support that makes independent living possible for years longer than it would be otherwise. 11. You know what's fascinating about Finnish senior care? It's not just the saunas, though those matter more than you might think. Picture this. You're 75, sitting naked next to your neighbor who's a CEO, and your other neighbor who's a janitor. Nobody's wearing their job title or their bank account. Everyone's just human. That's the foundation of how Finland thinks about aging. Strip away the nonsense and focus on what actually matters. Here's what most countries get wrong. We wait for problems, then throw expensive solutions at them. Finland flips that completely upside down. They practice something called pre-rehabilitation. Instead of waiting for you to fall and break your hip, they're already working with you at 65 to make sure your balance is solid. Picture getting a phone call on your 75th birthday, not from a telemarketer, but from your local health center. They're inviting you in for what they call a functional assessment. Sounds fancy, but it's really simple. A physical therapist watches you walk across the room and get up from a chair. Takes about 10 minutes. A nutritionist asks what you had for breakfast. A social worker wants to know who you talked to this week. They're not looking for disease. They're looking for weak spots before they become problems. This happens at what they call service centers, but forget everything you think you know about senior centers. These aren't sad places with bingo on Tuesdays. They're more like community living rooms where life actually happens. You might go in for a blood pressure check, grab a subsidized lunch, join a book club, and take a pottery class. All in one building, all in one afternoon. The genius is mixing the medical stuff with the fun stuff. When you need to see a nurse, you're not making a special trip to feel sick and old. You're going to the place where your friends are, where interesting things happen. It removes the stigma completely. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds nice, but does it actually work? The Finnish researchers asked the same question. They ran a massive study called Finger, published in The Lancet, one of the world's top medical journals. They took 1,200 older adults who were at risk for dementia and put them through a 2-year program. Not pills or surgery, just targeted diet changes, exercise, brain training, and social activities. The results were incredible. These folks showed a 25% improvement in cognitive function compared to people who didn't get the program. Their brains literally worked better. And here's the kicker. It didn't cost much. The whole program cost less than what one person with dementia spends on care in a single year. Let me break down what you can actually do with this information, because I know you don't live in Finland. You can't build a service center down the street, but you can think like the Finns. First, stop waiting for your doctor to find problems. Schedule your own functional check. Call your doctor's office and ask for a referral to a physical therapist, not because something hurts, but because you want to know how your balance and strength are doing. Most insurance covers this as preventive care. Do it now while you feel fine. Second, create your own service center. Look around your community and connect the dots. Maybe your library has computer classes on Mondays. There's a walking group at the park on Wednesdays, and the community college has lectures on Fridays. Bundle these together. Make it your weekly routine. You're not just staying busy. You're building the exact same kind of integrated health maintenance that costs Finland a fraction of what we spend on nursing homes. Third, think prevention, not treatment. That means strength training twice a week, even if it's just body weight exercises in your living room. It means eating protein at every meal to maintain muscle mass. It means calling a friend every day, not just when you need something. These aren't lifestyle suggestions. They're medical interventions that happen to be enjoyable. The Finnish model works because it treats health as something you actively maintain, not something you passively lose. It recognizes that staying independent isn't about avoiding all risks. It's about building enough resilience that small problems don't become big ones. You don't need a government program to start thinking this way. You just need to stop waiting for permission to take care of yourself proactively. The Finns figured out that the best time to prevent a fall is 20 years before it happens. The best time to maintain your social connections is before you need them desperately. The best time to start strength training is today. That's the real lesson from those saunas. When you strip away all the complications, taking care of yourself as you age comes down to some pretty simple things. Move your body, feed your brain, stay connected to people, and don't wait for problems to find you. Find them first. 12. Here's the truth nobody tells you about planning your later years. It's actually medicine. Research from JAMA Internal Medicine shows that people who systematically plan their aging options experience measurable drops in cortisol, the stress hormone that accelerates aging. Planning isn't just preparation. It's a health intervention as powerful as some medications. But most people plan wrong. They ask, what can I afford? Or what does my doctor recommend? These questions put you in the passenger seat. The right first question is, what makes me feel like myself? I'm talking about your non-negotiable daily rituals. Not the obvious stuff like eating or sleeping, but the specific things that make you you. Maybe it's reading the newspaper with real paper, not a screen. Maybe it's feeding the birds on your back porch every morning at 7 a.m. Maybe it's taking a hot shower, not a quick rinse. These aren't luxuries. They're your identity markers. Write down 3 of these right now. Any living situation that eliminates all 3 is wrong for you, no matter how practical it seems on paper. Now let's build around those anchors using what I call the 3 dials approach. First is your autonomy dial. This runs from 1 to 10. Level 10 means you're managing everything yourself: medications, appointments, home maintenance, the works. Level 1 means most of your daily decisions are handled by others. Be honest about where you are today and where you'll realistically be in 5 years. If sorting pills into weekly containers already stresses you out, you're not at level 10. Maybe you're at 7, and that's fine. It means you should look at options with built-in support systems, not pretend you can handle everything solo. Second is your social structure dial. Everyone says they want community, but there are actually 3 different types. Opt-in community means you engage when you feel like it. Think village movement. Integrated community means shared activities are built into your daily life. That's co-housing. Curated community means relationships are organized around specific purposes, like intergenerational living programs. An introvert might love the village model, but feel suffocated in co-housing. Pick the structure that matches your social energy, not what sounds good in theory. Third is your financial engine. Stop thinking of your money as just savings sitting there. Think of it as an engine that needs to power 30 years. What kind of engine do you have? If you have a big asset like a house you can sell, that's a capital conversion engine. This points toward buying into a community or funding a major home renovation. If you need your assets to generate monthly income, that's an income generation engine. This screams ADU, rent out part of your space. If you're living on fixed income, like Social Security and pensions, that's a subscription engine. This makes pay-as-you-go models like village membership or virtual communities more realistic. Match your financial engine to the economic model of your choice, or you'll pick something you can't sustain. When you talk to your family about this, don't start with, "We need to discuss my future care." That kills the conversation before it starts. Instead, say, "I've been researching some interesting options for the next phase of life. I've narrowed it down to 3 scenarios. Can we spend an hour looking at the pros and cons of each?" Present it as multiple choice, not an open-ended problem. This invites collaboration instead of conflict. Here's what this process really does. It transforms you from a patient into a planner. You're no longer just someone who receives care. You're someone who designs their life. You can now evaluate whether a time bank makes more sense than a smart pill dispenser or whether co-housing fits better than an ADU. The power dynamic has shifted in your favor. Your final task isn't to ask, "Where should I move?" Instead, ask, "Based on my non-negotiable rituals, my autonomy level, my social style, and my financial engine, what's the first logical step I could take next Monday?" That's how you become the architect of your own aging, instead of waiting for someone else to design it for you.